All right, so our next topic is costing techniques 7.4 for today. We are not going to do anything in this topic. Nothing at all. Nothing at all in this subunit. Why? I'll tell you. Our main topic for tonight is absorption and variable costing. Now, why we will not do anything in costing techniques, this 7.4, I will explain the reason. Now, this absorption versus variable costing, this is our today's topic. That is topic 7.5. So when we will be discussing 7.5 in detail, why should we do 7.4? We won't do this. Then next we have, this is all covered in 7.5. Then we have actual versus normal costing. Now this topic, gentlemen, it is covered in your Unit 9, Subunit 2. It is in 9.2. We will do it inshallah next week. So we will do there, not today. We are going to cross this out because this topic is covered in full detail in our Subunit 9.2. Halas, nothing to be done in this. Normal costing, again, it is covered in 9.2. Unit 9, Subunit 2. So we are not going to do it here. We are not going to waste our time. Then we have job order costing. We are not going to do this. Why? Because job order costing is in Unit 8 and it is your 8.1. We will do it today after the 7.5. Then the next is process costing. Again, we are not going to do. Why? Because process costing is your 8.2. In detail, FIFO, weighted average, equivalent units, everything is there. Then activity-based costing. Again, we are not going to do it in this subunit. Why? Because it is a separate topic, 8.3. Inshallah, our next unit. And then life cycle costing, we are not going to do this either. Why? Because this is your 8.4. So these are all coming. So we are not going to waste our time. I'm just going to put a big cross to save our time. We want to be efficient and use our time very carefully. So we will do it there. Activity-based costing, no need to do. We will do it in our right place. Life cycle costing, again coming in Unit 8. So let us not waste our time. Now, standard costing and flexible budgeting. This is what we will study in our Unit 15. We have variances on our agenda, inshallah. We will do the material budget variances, labor variances, overhead variances, sales variances. This will come in Unit 15. So we will do it then. Why do it now? We'll do it at the right time in detail. So this is just an introduction of these topics. Flexible budgeting is also covered in your Unit 15. So we will do it there. So it is in this, inshallah, in our scheme of things. So let's do. Then this one, allocating joint cost. Again, I'm going to put a big cross. Why? Because allocating joint cost is your Unit 9.1. Unit 9, Subunit 1, which we'll be doing, inshallah, next week. See, a lot of time has been saved. Then allocating service department cost. We are not going to do it either. Why? Because this is completely covered in your Unit 9.3. Mark these. All these are exactly the same numbers as we proceed. So we still have to do Unit 8 and 9. So they will be all covered. All these methods will be discussed, inshallah, later in our studies. Direct method we'll discuss in detail. The step down method, reciprocal. It is all coming. So instead of just wasting time, if you want, you can just skip this unit. Totally forget about it. Consider it doesn't exist. Khalas. Mafi here. It's gone. Khalas. We'll do it in detail in their respective areas. Right. Then we have target costing. This target costing is also covered in life cycle costing, and that is your Unit 8.4. We'll discuss it there. So technically, your 7.5 is over. Khalas. Gone. No need to do any MCQ. No need to even read this. You can skip this topic because we'll discuss all these in detail. Now, this is our main topic for today. Absorption and variable costing. See, 7.5. I told you that we will be doing this in detail. So rather than discussing it here in right at the start of this unit, it was there. Let me show you. So we have saved a lot of time. 7.4. See, it was right here. See, absorption and variable costing. We are going to do the whole topic now, 7.5. So let's go straight to 7.5 and start and try to learn what is the variable and absorption costing. This is a very important area, gentlemen. So make sure you understand it very well. Absorption and variable costing. Okay, this is it. Absorption and variable costing. Now let us first try to make sense out of it. Let us discuss what is absorption costing. Let me bring this picture close to you. Now you can see here. Now, if you just look at this. If you take your direct material, direct labor, variable overheads and fixed overhead and consider it as a part of production cost, this system is called absorption costing. Means direct material used in production, direct labor. Allah, this is the question you are asking today. Direct material, direct labor, variable overhead and fixed overhead. All four costs of production, they are made as a part of product. These are called the product costs. And all the costs which are not product related, like your variable selling, fixed selling, maybe variable administration, fixed administrative cost, they all become the period cost, right? So this is a very clear distinction, gentlemen. Remember, absorption costing considers these four costs as product cost, as a part of product cost, right? And all the other costs as period cost. This system is called full costing. It is allowed or required under the US GAAP. It is required under the IFRS. It is required under the tax laws. It is required under the Securities and Exchange Commission. So this is the legal method of costing. You have to follow this. Your financial statement that you prepare in your company, they are based upon the absorption costing. Now, I am the management accountant and I don't like this method. Why? The reason. Because this method considers fixed overhead, fixed cost of production, rent, factory, insurance, factory, depreciation, factory plant, salary and wages of factory supervisors, factory managers, right? All these costs related to factory fixed cost, I find this cost to be irrelevant. Why? Because fixed cost is assumed to be fixed. Why should I add fixed costs in my production? I am a management accountant. I would like to see things more objectively. I reject this system. Even it is required under the law. But I reject this system. I have an alternative system. And let me show you what this alternative system is. Under this alternative system, I take just direct material, direct labor and variable overhead as my product cost, and all the other costs, fixed factory cost, factory rent, insurance, variable selling, variable administration, all these I expense them and I consider them as a period cost. Now the question is, this method I am using as a management accountant. This method is not allowed under the US GAAP. This method is not allowed under the tax laws. Then why I am using? Because I find this method very, very helpful for performance evaluation, for decision making, for process improvement. So I am a management accountant and for me this method is my love, because this method will help me improve my business efficiency. This method will help me to evaluate my managers. So I will use this management. If I am a CMA and if I am working as a management accountant, I will use direct costing for my performance improvement, for my performance evaluation. This is the best method. I will show you why. But if you are a CPA or if you are a CA, you will use this method. Why? Because under the US GAAP, you have to follow this method, absorption costing. Right? Now, this is a very basic, and I will explain why is it and how do we do that. So let us discuss something about theory and then we will move forward. So as we have seen, for external reporting purposes, a product cost should include all the manufacturing cost, means direct material. We are talking about this system, direct labor, and all the factory overhead, both fixed and variable. He is talking about this system. This system is called absorption system. This is required under the US GAAP. But we have an alternative system also, and this alternative system is called the variable costing and direct costing. What we do in this system, we simply take only the variable manufacturing cost. That is direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead. Fixed overheads, they are considered as a period cost, and that's why it is considered as an expense for the period. This method is a very useful method. Let us first try to learn how do we cost under absorption and direct costing. We have some good questions here set up for you. Okay, here we go. Now, at the end of the year, Jubal Manufacturing recorded the data below. He has given you the prime cost, the variable manufacturing overheads, fixed manufacturing overhead, variable selling and other expenses, fixed selling and other expenses. Now, if Jubal uses variable costing, which we use as CMAs, as management accountants, so what is the cost that we will consider as inventoriable cost? Inventoriable cost, gentlemen, is also called the product cost. Remember, under variable costing, inventoriable cost and product cost, they're the same. So what do we consider inventoriable cost? Those three things. What three things? Direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead. Okay, so do we have direct material here? Mafi. Do we have direct labor here? No. That we have these two, which we know, direct material plus direct labor is equal to prime cost. So basically, instead of giving direct material, direct labor separately, he has given you the combination of these two. This is these two. Direct material, direct labor is prime cost. What we need more to find the product cost is variable overhead of production. This is your variable manufacturing overheads, and you can bring it here. So you can say now that our variable cost of production is 900,000. This is what you call the inventoriable cost or the product cost or the production cost under variable method. So that gives you $900,000 as your production cost or inventoriable cost, right? So that makes sense. This is the variable costing. Then same question, if we do it under the absorption costing, also called the full costing, this is the method allowed, or I would say required under the US GAAP. This is required under the law. This is required under the IFRS. So you have to follow this method if you are a CPA or if you are a financial accountant. Now what we do in this method, we take the direct material, we take the direct labor, we take the variable overheads and fixed overhead also. Fixed overhead is considered as a part of inventoriable cost, as a part of product cost. So as I said that these two have already been given, 800,000. Variable manufacturing cost, 100,000. Now this is something which we didn't take previously, but we will now. Fixed manufacturing cost, 160. And now if you calculate your full cost of production, it's going to be 9,1060,000. So which is perfectly matching with your option C. So under absorption costing, this would be your cost, and that makes D to be the correct option. Now we have at least got the idea that under these systems, the only difference is that under the absorption costing, all four are added to make up product cost. But under direct costing, we only take the variable cost. Fixed cost is considered as a period cost. That is what we have learned so far. But why? Lesh, why do we do that? That's the question we need to ask. Why do we have to separate the fixed cost? And why do we have to consider it separately? So this is something that we need to find a suitable answer to. That why do we have to take the fixed cost and put it separately? So the next slides that are coming, that will explain the reason why we do that. So I think this is I have just explained you that the full costing method, also called the absorption costing method, it is required by GAAP. But if you use the variable costing method, this is not acceptable for GAAP. It is not acceptable for Internal Revenue Service. This is the tax department in the US. So variable costing is used only for internal decision making purpose. If you are a CMA, if you are a management accountant working internally, so you can use variable costing. It is not permitted, it is not allowed under the US GAAP or under the tax laws of Internal Revenue. So this is very important point you need to understand. Now we need to answer if I am a CMA and if I use variable costing, what is the advantage? What is the main advantage for me? This is, gentlemen, very, very, very important point. If I am a management accountant, I will use variable costing. Why? Because if I use variable costing, my managers cannot manipulate profits. My income cannot be manipulated by the management action. How come? We still don't understand. What is manipulation of income? How the income can be manipulated under absorption costing? And how variable costing can prevent us from manipulating the income statement. Let us see an example. This will explain the concept fully. So where management can manipulate income when using absorption costing. Now, this is an important point, that under absorption costing, income can be manipulated. You can commit a fraud under absorption costing. You can show more income under absorption costing. But under variable costing, you cannot play. You cannot play with accounting. You cannot play with accounting under a variable costing. So this is the method I like for performance evaluation. So remember, in absorption costing method, you can manipulate profit. How? Let's take an example. A very good example is here. Now let's try to understand the scheme, how you can play with the profits under absorption costing. A firm during its first month in business produced 100 units, fine, and sold only 80 units. Now this is our production, P, this is our sales, S. Clearly we produced more than sales. We produced 100, sold 80, which means the 20 units, they will be in the closing finished goods inventory. This will be in the closing stock. Fine, that makes sense. Now let us see the cost of production. Our cost of production, as I told you, consists of 4 things. Which 4 things? Let me highlight these one by one. The first is direct material, 1000 on producing these 100 units. Then the direct labor, 2000. Then the variable overhead, 1500. If you add these 3, you will get the manufacturing cost that we used in variable costing. That we just learned. Let me take you back. That's exactly what we just did. Direct material, direct labor and variable overhead, it is considered as a product cost under direct costing. So same thing is doing. Adding these 3 will give you 4500, right? Now, if you go for absorption costing, you need to do one more step. Direct material, direct labor, variable overhead and fixed overhead. This total 1000, 2000, 1500 and 3000. This is the cost under the absorption costing. Now, if you are a management accountant, you will take this as a production cost. If you are a financial accountant, CPA, you will take this as a financial cost. Now, let us try to calculate the unit cost. How we can create unit cost? These are the units you produced. So if you take absorption costing, your total cost of production is 7500. And if you produce 100 units, what is the per unit cost? 75 upon 100, 75. 7500 upon 100, that gives you, this is the unit cost under absorption costing. If you use variable costing, you will take this number and you would divide this with 100. So 4500 upon 100. So the cost of production is 45. Now, gentlemen, listen. Under absorption costing, my unit cost is 75 per unit. Under variable costing, my unit cost is 45. Now, if I produce 100 units and I sell only 80, my closing stock will consist of 20 units, right? These 20 units under the absorption costing will have a value of 20 multiplied by 75, 1500. And these 20 units under the variable costing, it will have a value of 45 multiplied by 20, 900. Look at this, is where you play. This is, gentlemen, how you play, how you manipulate profit under absorption costing. How? You deliberately produced more than you can sell. Production is more than sales. Whenever the production is more than sales, fixed cost gets absorbed into your units of production. Fixed cost is hidden. Fixed cost bypasses your income statement and it hides in the closing stock. Look at this. Closing stock under variable costing is only 900 for material, labor and variable overhead. You can see if you just divide 1000 with 100, it is 10 for material, 2000 by 100, that is 20 for labor, and 1500 upon that is 15, right? So just look at this, 10, 20 and 15. The full cost is 10, 20, 30, that is 45. So 45 is the variable cost multiplied by 80, you get 900. Right? Now under the absorption costing, you are also able to transfer your fixed cost into production. When you produce more and more and more, fixed cost gets absorbed into the finished goods and your closing stock becomes big. Whenever your closing stock is more, your cost of goods sold, CGS, will be lowered, because CGS is calculated by deducting closing stock. So when you have a larger closing stock, deduct larger closing stock figure, your CGS will be lowered. Whenever your CGS will be lower, your gross profit would be higher. Whenever your gross profit would be higher, your net profit would be higher. And when your net profit is higher, your bonus would be higher and you will be happy. But you did this by cheating. This is haram wallahi. You deliberately produced more so that you can make more profit. This is cheating. This is manipulation. There is a very good question related to this and you will understand how it is done. Please focus on this question and you will learn how under absorption costing you can commit a fraud. Look at this. Troughton Company manufactures radio controlled toy dogs. Okay. Summary budget for financial data for Troughton for the current year are as follows. 5,000 units are to be sold at 150 each. So this is the expected sales revenue. Variable manufacturing cost expected to be 400. Fixed manufacturing cost 100,000. Variable selling and admin cost 80 and fixed selling is 150. So this is all budget, right? Okay. If this is budget, then what is going to be my budgeted profit? Let's just calculate for our understanding. So 750 is the budgeted sales, less 400,000 for variable manufacturing cost, 100 for fixed, 80 and 150. Just $20,000. The profit is too low. And this makes me sad. This is not good. Very low profit. When the profit is low, maafi commission, maafi bonus. Just show a salary. So what to do? Let's play with the numbers. Troughton uses an absorption costing system with the overhead applied based on the number of units produced. Overhead, we will discuss this in normal costing. Overhead is charged to production based upon number of units produced with the denominator level of activity 5,000. This is the planned production based upon which the overhead is absorbed into our units produced. Under an over applied manufacturing overhead is written off to CGS. This is something we will discuss in our normal costing. Under an over applied means when you charge more cost to the production, it is called over applied. And when you charge less cost to production, less fixed cost, this is called under applied. What is under and over applied? It is all coming in your normal costing, and we will also discuss this in our variance. So right now it has no concern here. So if you want to, you may ignore this. Right now it has no relevance here for the time being. Now the problem is this $20,000 budgeted operating income from producing and selling 5,000 toy dogs planned for this year is of concern to Trudy George. Trudy George is worried that this profit is too low. She might not be able to get bonus. And who is Trudy George? Troughton's president. She's the president. And she's a crooked person. Not a goodly, maafi quest. She believes she could increase operating income up to 50,000. This is fraud. This is fraud. She's going to commit a fraud. She believes she could increase operating income to $50,000, her bonus threshold, if Troughton produces more units than sold. Whenever you produce more than you can sell, the extra production takes the fixed cost with it and it becomes the part of closing stock. Your fixed cost is hidden. Your fixed cost is moved into the closing stock. Thereby, your gross profit will go up. Your net profit will go up. This is cheating. This is fraud, wallahi. Not good. So now she plans what she's doing. Bad thing. She believes that she could increase operating income to $50,000 if Troughton produces more units than it sells. Means you produce more than you can sell. So that building up the finished goods inventory. There is more finished goods inventory, and that finished goods inventory will carry a lot of fixed cost, which is hidden in the closing stock. And this is what will cause the profit to go up, because the cost is absorbed into the finished goods. It doesn't get expensed, so you get more profit. Now if you want to commit a fraud, we want to increase our profit from 20,000 to 50,000, which means we need an extra 30,000 profit. So in order to get this more profit, how much of an increase in number of units in the finished good inventory would have to be needed to generate 50,000 budgeted operating income? How many units should you produce more so that you can take your profit from 20 to 50? You need this extra profit by fraud. Now, gentlemen, let me tell you how it is done. First of all, you need to see what is the fixed manufacturing cost. This is the fixed manufacturing cost. Okay? This is the fixed cost of production, including rent, insurance, property taxes, depreciation, plant managers and plant supervisors' salary. Now, this is the fixed cost. How many units we want to produce? 5,000. So, if 100,000 is the fixed cost, 5,000 units are planned to be produced, which means 100,000 fixed cost, 5,000 planned production. If you divide, you will know that every unit we produce, it takes $20 of fixed cost and it hides in the finished goods stock. It is taken away into the finished goods stock. So if every unit we produce takes $20 away from fixed cost and hides it in the closing stock, so how many more units should we produce? Since we want to raise our profit from 20 to 50, we need extra 30,000 profit, and each unit we produce more can increase our profit by 20. So if 30,000 divided by 20, which means you have to produce 1,500 more units. If you produce 1,500 more units, those 1,500 units multiplied by 20, they will take away how much fixed cost? 1,500 multiplied by 20. They will take away $30,000 of fixed cost into the closing stock, hide it there, and your profit goes up. So how many units more you need to produce? You need to produce 1,500 more units so that these units can take away the fixed cost with them and your profit becomes artificially higher. This is not good. This is fraud. This is fraud. And this will increase your profit up to $50,000. So this is the level of production. So you need to increase your production by 15. So what the question was, how much of an increase in number of units? So you need to produce 1,500 more in order to achieve your desired level of profit. This is something we want to avoid. As a management accountant, I want to avoid that. Let's go back to what we were doing here. See, as a management accountant, main advantage of variable costing method is that income cannot be manipulated by management actions. And you have just seen management can manipulate income when using absorption costing. So this is exactly what we did. Management can manipulate income when using absorption costing. So management will deliberately produce more than sales. This extra production will take away the fixed cost into the closing stock and you have high profit. But this is not possible under variable costing. You cannot manipulate income in variable costing. Why? The reason, gentlemen, now you know. In variable costing, look at this closely. Fixed cost is not a product cost. Fixed cost becomes a period cost. So if you increase your production, you will not be able to transfer the fixed cost because there is no fixed cost in variable costing. Just direct material, direct labor and variable overhead. Right? So fixed cost is removed and treated separately. That is why under direct costing, you cannot manipulate fixed cost into production. Whereas in absorption costing, we just saw that it was possible to manipulate. Now let us extend this idea further into this situation here. We've done this one. Now, as production and sales level changes, the two methods, that is the absorption and variable, they will give the varying impacts on operating income. Now, how are they related? This is something you need to learn very well. When everything produced is sold during the period, two methods will show the same operating profit. Because when whatever you produce, you produce 100 units and all of them are sold. So whether you are using absorption costing or whether you are using variable costing, their profit would be the same. Reason is that there is no finished stock, no fixed cost has been transferred to the closing stock. So both methods will show the same result. The problem will come when the production and sales are not equal. Whenever they are different, the two methods will report a different operating income. Now, how are they related? Let me show you through a very nice arrangement. Now, please try to understand this very well, because this is the key. If you understand this well, you will have a fuller understanding of how the profit can be manipulated using absorption costing. Whenever your production is more than sales, you can see you produce more, but sale is less. This is the production more, sale is less. What happens? These extra units, they will hide in the ending inventory. Your ending inventory will expand. You will have more units in ending inventory. When you will have more units in ending inventory, there will be more fixed cost in them. That fixed cost which has moved into these units, it hides in the closing stock. It bypasses your income. So under this method, if you use absorption costing method, you produce more than you can sell. The extra production takes with it the extra fixed cost, and that fixed cost doesn't get expensed. That is the reason under absorption costing, when you have more production than sales, your operating income is higher under absorption costing. That's what just we saw in an example. When Trudy George, she deliberately increased her production from 5,000 up to more than 1,500. So she was able to manipulate the profit. The reason was that she was able to transfer the fixed cost into the ending stock. And when the fixed cost hides into the ending stock, your profit becomes more. So whenever production is more than sales, your absorption costing profit would be higher. But when your production is less than sales, your ending inventory will be lower, so you will see the opposite result. Let me show this through numbers so that you fully understand the idea. Now, this is just, we've just discussed that under absorption costing, management will have a perverse incentive inherent in absorption costing. They will try to produce more and more. Under absorption costing, whenever production exceeds sales, you produce more than sales, your profit goes up. You deliberately produce more and more. So maybe you will be able to increase your profit, you will be able to earn bonus, but this will be a problem for the company. Why? Because the units you produce, they will not be selling, customer demand is low, resultantly your inventory levels will go up. When your inventory levels will go up, you will have to pay more storage cost, you will have to pay more insurance cost, there will be more carrying cost, and this is not good for the company. This is a very bad practice. This is not, I would say this is a fraud. You deliberately produce more so as to make more profit, so as to earn bonus. So this is a bad practice. Normally, when we produce, we want to sell. So this is called producing to sell. But what we see here is a very bad practice called producing for inventory. We are just producing so that we can stock. And that item that we produce will take away the fixed cost. Now let us explain this with another good example. Let's read this. A company has, where it is? Okay. A company has the following sales and cost data. Okay. In the first year, production was 40, sale was 30. Production is 40, sale is, it means production is more than sales. Next year, production was 50, sale was 30. Still production is more than sales. But in the last year, look at this, there is no production, only sales. In this case, sale is more than production. We have just learned that under absorption costing, whenever production is more than sale, profit would be higher. Production more than sale, profit would be higher. But whenever sale is more than production, profit will be lower. How do we know that? Look at this. These are the numbers. You just need to see the dynamics. Look at this. When the production was more than sale, higher profit. Production further higher, profit further higher. But when the production was low, sale was more, profit fell. Same thing. Profit went up, but whenever the sale is more than production, profit fell. This is bad. This is manipulation of profit. You deliberately produce more so that more profit could be earned, so that more fixed cost is transferred into inventory. This is possible under absorption costing. See, sales is same, 30, 30, 30. If sale is the same, your profit should be the same, but it is not. Why? Because your production is more than sale. Under absorption costing, whenever production is more than sales, your profit will go up. Whenever sale is more than production, profit will fall. So this is very bad thing for me as a management accountant. How will I evaluate the performance of my managers? They are manipulating their profit using absorption costing. I don't like this method as a management accountant. This is required under the law, under the US GAAP, but I as a management accountant, I find this very bad. It's a bad method. So what method I like? I like variable costing. Look at this beautiful method. When the sale is the same, under variable costing, fixed cost is considered as the full cost. It is not absorbed in production. Look at this. Under variable costing, since sale is the same, profit is the same. This is a perfectly, beautifully matching numbers. When sale is the same, profit is the same. Right? That makes sense. Perfect sense. When sale goes up, profit goes up. When sale falls, profit falls. But look at this here. This is a very strange situation here. That our sales are the same, but sometimes we have high profit, sometimes very low profit. Why is it so? Because the profit is being manipulated by producing more or less. So which means now we fully understand that under absorption costing, profit can be manipulated by producing more or less. But in variable costing, you cannot manipulate. Your profit will move exactly in the same line as your sale and production. So for how long can you do that? Maybe you can do it in year 1, year 2, year 3. You cannot do it for long term. Maybe you can buy a couple of years, but this method will not help you more, because overall in the long term, both system will show the same profit. Now look at this. Here the profit was 10,100, 10,600, 6,600. If you add all these, it is 27,300. Because in the long run, whatever we produced, all sold, so there is nothing left. Profit is 27,300. If you use the same under absorbed variable costing, if you add, you get the same number, 27,300. So which means maybe you can do this for a couple of years, but this method will not help you every time. Because in the long run, your both system will show the same profit. So maybe you can do it 1 year or 2 years, but this method is unfortunately is not valid for long period. It will only work for few periods. Okay, now some important concepts that we need to understand. So we just learned that under the variable costing method, a production manager cannot manipulate income by producing more. Why? Because fixed cost doesn't get absorbed into production. So in the variable costing, a production manager cannot manipulate income. So as a management accountant, as a CMA, I should use variable costing for the performance evaluation of my managers. How good my managers are doing, I can learn this through variable costing. But remember, under the US GAAP, we have to follow absorption costing. But for management accountant, for CMAs, we will love this method of variable costing, because in variable costing, profit cannot be manipulated, right? So the basic idea is that given the same cost structure every year, the income levels will be based upon sales under variable costing. Whenever sales goes up, your profit goes up. Sales fall, profit falls. So that's why variable costing is a very good method for performance evaluation. You see, it's the same words here. Under variable costing, profits always move in the same direction as sales. Means sales goes up, profit goes up. Sales fall, profit falls, right? But under absorption costing, they are very erratic. Sometimes your sale is going up, but profits are falling. And sometimes your sale is going down, but profits are increasing. So that is the reason absorption costing is not good for performance evaluation. So under absorption costing, they move in the opposite direction from sales. Sometimes your sale is going down, profit is going up. So this is the problem with it, right? And as I just told you, maybe you can do it for a couple of years, but in the long term, two methods will report the same total profit if sales equal production. Just we saw in the previous slide, but in the longer run, all these will be sorted out. So you cannot continue this for a long period. Now, just some advantages of variable costing for management accountant. First, variable costing is a very good tool for planning and control. For planning and controlling, because fixed cost has to be paid. So we should base our planning on variable cost, because variable cost is in our hand. Rent is not in our hand. Insurance, not in our hand. Depreciation, not in our hand. So what is in your hand? Variable cost. So we plan based upon the variable cost, right? Second advantage is that variable costing has a very nice arrangement with sales. Whenever sales goes up, under variable costing, profit goes up. Whenever sale falls, profit falls. So a perfect relationship that is understandable. Then under variable costing, we just saw a production manager cannot manipulate profit. You cannot manipulate profit by producing more or less, right? And further, this is very good. Better pricing decision. How come? Let's say Allah comes to me and says, sir, I want to buy some items. If I see my cost of production, direct material, direct labor, variable overheads and fixed overhead per unit. So my cost of material is 5, 7, 8 and 5 fixed. So total cost, if you just add this up, 7 plus 5, 12, 8, 20, 25. Allah comes to me and says, sir, I want to buy some items from you. Please sell me at $22. If I'm a CPA, I will say no. But if I am a CMA, I will say wait. I will check my cost. I will see that fixed cost like rent and insurance and property taxes, I have to pay them. Whether I sell to Allah or I don't, I have to pay this cost. Since this cost has to be paid, whether I sell him to him or not, then only relevant cost I should consider is this. So if Allah gives me $22 and my cost, relevant cost is only 20. So this is good for me. If he gives me 22, I give him $20 item, I still make $2 profit. Because fixed costs I have to pay. I have to pay rent. I have to pay insurance. I have to pay property taxes. Right? So this is very good. Variable costing is very good for pricing decision, that I have to pay the rent at least in the short run. My variable costs are covered. So let me sell him for 20, 22. Still I can make a $2 profit. $2 contribution, right? So this is why variable costing is good for pricing decision, right? And then you will also learn in your CMA part 2 that whether should you produce an item yourself or should you buy it from outside, you will see your variable cost. Like if I produce an item at variable cost of $20 and if someone else from outside offers me at 29, I will say no, thank you. I can produce this item myself at 20. But if your variable cost of production is 20 and another person offers you 15, this is good. Because your variable cost is 15, he is offering at 15, you're 20 and he's offering 15, that is good. So this is something you don't have to be worried about. This is the area you will discuss in your CMA. Part 2 decision analysis, inshallah, section C. Okay, then we have some other important points to be discussed. Variable costing is very helpful in deciding that should we continue running our department or should we stop it. Right? So again, this is a CMA part 2 area we will discuss there, that how do we decide under variable costing that should we continue a department, should we close it. You will know whether we need to operate a department or we just close this down. You will learn that. Further, management is better able to judge the difference between department if certain fixed costs are omitted, because fixed costs, they have to be paid. Fixed costs have to be paid whether you do the production or you don't. So that's why in our analysis, we should remove fixed cost and use the variable cost for decision making. And the third advantage here is that under variable costing, our costing and our sales, they move in the same direction. When the sale goes up, your total cost will go up. When the sale falls, cost falls. So this is the reason why we find absorption costing is a much variable cost, a much better method. Now let's do some more questions to understand and start our next unit. Okay. Now this is a computational question, and I think all these questions are related to your variable absorption costing. Let's do them all. Let's do some basic questions first. Okay, this one first. If Fortech company uses variable costing, what is the inventoriable cost? We have just learned that under variable costing, only direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead, only these are called the product cost. So which means I will take this, this, and this. And if you add all these, it is going to be 450. Hey, khalas, no need to look anything for anything. This is your answer. But if you need to find the cost under absorption method, or also called the full costing, which is required under the US GAAP, you know that it's direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, and fixed overhead. Add all these: direct material, direct labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead. If you add all these, it's going to be 450 plus 80, 530. Perfect. See, it's as simple as that. Then we'll do some difficult question. Let us do all the easier ones. This is a good one. Now, estimated unit cost for coal lab using full absorption costing and operating at production level of 12,000 units is as follows. When we produce 12,000 units, this is our unit cost detail. What we are required to find out, find the estimated conversion cost. We know conversion cost is the sum of direct labor and the manufacturing overhead. What the hell is manufacturing overhead? Manufacturing overhead is the sum of fixed overheads and variable overheads, remember. So basically we need these three things. Direct labor, it is 32. Put it right here. Direct labor, oh no, we don't need to do direct material. There is no direct material, sorry. Direct labor, 20. Then variable manufacturing cost, 15. Fixed manufacturing cost, 6. Remember, conversion cost is the sum of direct labor and manufacturing overhead. When you say manufacturing overhead, it includes fixed as well as variable. So this is important point to remember. Conversion cost is sum of direct labor and all manufacturing costs, fixed and variable combined. We discussed that yesterday. So it's going to be 35 plus 6, 41. Perfect. B is the answer. That's the conversion cost for you. Then, what is the prime cost? We discussed this yesterday. Prime cost is the sum of direct material and direct labor. Just two things. This is direct material. This is direct labor. If you add these two, it's going to be 52. And there we are. 52 is the answer. Then, yes, these are some good quality questions. Now we are going to do some serious computation. Now these 4 questions are little challenging. Please, gentlemen, be with me, fully focused, and I will explain how do we calculate operating income under variable costing and under absorption costing. And if there is a difference, how do we calculate the difference? Okay. So let's do question number 31 first. It says, Osawa Incorporated planned and actually manufactured 200,000 units of its single product during its first year of operations. This is the first year of operations production, 200,000 units. It says variable manufacturing cost is 30 per unit of product. Now I would like to discuss something about this. Variable manufacturing cost. Remember, gentlemen, variable manufacturing cost is composed of 3 things. Has a direct material plus direct labor plus variable overhead. This is sometimes collectively called as variable manufacturing cost. Remember. So instead of giving DM, DL and VOH separately, he has given you a single number 30. Okay. Then planned and actual fixed cost is 600,000. This is your fixed cost, which is the 4th element. We know there are 4 costs of production under absorption costing, right? Direct material, direct labor, variable overheads and fixed overheads. Fine. It further says that selling and administrative costs are 400,000. This is the selling and admin cost. Osawa sold only 120,000 units. Now look at this. This is what we have produced and this is what we have sold. Production is 200,000. Sale is only 120. So clearly your production is more than sales. Right? It further says that the selling price is 40. Okay. We have to find out the operating income under variable costing. Gentlemen, follow the method. What I'm going to do. First of all, you're going to write your selling price, which is given as 40. From this selling price, you will deduct 3 things. Direct material, direct labor, variable overheads, which in our case is 30. So deducting all the variable costs from selling price gives you $10. This is called, mind the word, it's a beautiful word, manufacturing contribution margin. Manufacturing contribution margin. So remember, I will write the formula here. Selling price minus direct material minus direct labor minus variable overheads. This is called the manufacturing contribution margin, MCM, manufacturing contribution margin. Okay. Now if you sell one item, it gives you $10 of manufacturing contribution margin. How many units did you sell? 120,000. So I'm going to calculate now the total manufacturing contribution margin. Total manufacturing contribution margin, which is equal to 10 multiplied by 120,000. It is going to be 1.2 million. This is your total manufacturing contribution margin. Now I will deduct all the costs now from this. Now what all costs? The remaining costs. Fixed manufacturing cost is 600,000 in black. Fixed manufacturing cost is $600,000 and selling and administrative cost of $400,000. Selling and administration cost $400,000. So 1.2 million less 600,000 is 4. It is exactly $200,000, and here you go. $200,000 is your answer. Now, next part is interesting. Osawa operating income using absorption costing. We can solve it directly without going for all the details, because we have just learned in our lecture here that whenever your production is more than sales, your absorption costing profit would be higher. And this is the same case in our example. Our production was 200,000 and our sale was just 120,000, which means we produce 80,000 units more. And these 80,000 units are carrying some fixed cost in them, which is hidden in them. What is the fixed cost? Let us try to calculate that here. Now look at this, gentlemen. Our fixed manufacturing cost is $600,000 and we plan to produce 200,000 units, which means $600,000 upon $200,000, $3. Every item we produce, it takes $3 of fixed cost with it. Okay, if this is the case, since we have produced 80,000 units more, each unit we produce more takes with it $3 of fixed cost, which means $240,000 fixed cost has been taken to the warehouse. Wallahi haram. This 240,000 has deliberately, the fixed cost of 240,000 has deliberately been taken to the finished goods stock. This 240,000 of fixed cost does not get expensed. This $240,000 cost is hidden. Cheating. So your profit will go up by 240. Okay, if this is the case, then what was our profit last here? 200, right? Profit is 200. Since under absorption costing, you are able to transfer $240,000 cost into finished goods, your profit will be 200 plus 240, 440. Khalas. Simple step. Because under absorption, a variable costing, if the profit is 200, you are able to transfer how much profit cost into the finished goods. You produce 80,000 units more. These 80,000 units, each of them is carrying $3 of fixed cost with it. 80 times 3, 240. This is what you are transferring to the finished goods as a fixed cost, unexpensed. So your profit will go up by 240. So here, if the profit was 200, your manipulation is 240. So combined profit is 440. Now, khalas. If this question comes as a standalone question with no link with any other question, right? If this question comes with no link with any other question, how do we do the single question in itself? Let's do it from zero. Let's say we have to do it. There is no other question related to it, and we have to do this question on our own completely. How we will do it? We will first calculate our gross profit. Under absorb, this is what you guys are accountants. So accountants, financial accountants, CPAs, ACCAs working in accounting department, they don't calculate contribution. You never calculate contribution. You calculate gross profit. What is gross profit? Gross profit is equal to selling price minus direct material, minus direct labor, minus variable overhead, and minus fixed overhead, which you were not deducting in the previous. This is what we do under absorption costing. This is what we do under US GAAP. Selling price minus direct material minus direct labor minus variable minus fixed overhead, which you didn't do before. So this is we are using under absorption or full costing. Okay. We have been given these three as single number rather than given separately. So I'm going to take my selling price, that is 40. Okay. I'm going to take my variable cost of production, which is given as a full number 30. And now I'm going to take my fixed overhead per unit. We just calculated that. $600,000 is the total fixed cost and 200,000 units were planned to be produced. So which means your fixed cost per unit is just $3. Right? So if you deduct 40 less 30, 10 less 3, 7. So every unit you sell gives you $7 gross profit. Mind the word gross profit, and gross profit is only calculated under absorption costing. Okay. Now $7 is a gross profit. Okay. How many units did we sell? We sold 120,000. So what is the total gross profit? You multiply 7 with 120 and you will get 7 multiplied by 120. That gives you 840. Okay. Now out of this 840, which is your gross profit, now you will deduct your operating expenses. What operating expenses? Selling expense, administration expense. We have it here. Selling and administrative expense 400. So if you deduct 400 from this, you will come directly at the same answer, but from zero. We did everything in the natural flow of the things, and that's how we find the gross. So please, gentlemen, this is a beautiful question. Do it a couple of times or 3 to 4 times. So you will fully understand what is the difference between the variable costing and absorption costing. And this is how we do it. Do it a couple of times, inshallah. This is in your Gleim online software, and you will get full understanding of it. Now we have 2 more questions, then we'll start our next unit. This is a beautiful question again. Okay, now I would like to give you some further idea into absorption and variable costing. I have 2 systems. One is absorption and one is the variable costing. And their profits differ. Let's say the profit under absorption costing is 12,000 and profit under variable costing is 9,000, let's say. These numbers, if I see I'm a smart accountant, I will immediately know, since my absorption costing profit is more than variable costing, definitely production is more than sales. Halas, this is 100%. Whenever your absorption costing profit is more than variable costing, that means production is more than sales. Right? Now, conversely speaking, let's just twist things around. And whenever, take other numbers, let's say whenever your absorption, let's say absorption costing profit is 8,000 and variable costing profit is 10,500. Whenever you see these numbers, that means your sales is more than production. Remember always, whenever production is more than sales, absorption costing profit will be more, variable costing profit would be less. And whenever variable costing profit is more, in that case, sale is more than production. This is a rule you will always remember. You must remember. Now, if I want to establish an equation that how these profits can be linked in an equation, I'm going to write up an equation which will be very helpful to you to solve many questions involving absorption and variable costing. Please note down this formula. Okay, here we go. Formula. Difference in profit under both systems, difference in profit is equal to fixed overhead rate per unit, first element, multiplied by the difference between production and sales. Production, or let me write this fully because it will help you to do many questions. Fixed overhead rate per unit multiplied by difference. Let me write difference. Mind the words difference. Difference between production and sales. Sometimes you are not given production and sales, so a formula can take a little deviation. Let me write this now cleanly this time. Difference in profit under both systems is equal to fixed overhead rate per unit. This is a very, very helpful formula, gentlemen. Please try to remember that. Multiplied by the difference between opening stock and closing stock. If your opening and closing stocks are given, you use the downward one, this one. And if the production and sales given, use the up one. Now let's try to apply this formula. Does it really work? The difference in profit under both systems is equal to fixed overhead rate multiplied by the difference between production and sales, or the difference between opening stock, closing stock. You should note it down when you're practicing. Let's try the formula. If it really works, let's see. Okay, it says a corporation had the following unit cost for the recent concluded calendar year. Our variable cost of manufacturing was $8. Our fixed cost of manufacturing was 3, which means if we produce 1 unit, the direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead is 8. Variable manufacturing cost is the sum of 3 things: direct material, direct labor, and variable overheads. And this $3 is the fixed cost. We are only interested in the variable manufacturing and fixed. We are not concerned with 2 or 4.5. This is clearly non-manufacturing cost. Non-manufacturing variable, non-manufacturing fixed. We are not concerned with it. Now, the question is, inventory for sole product total 6,000 units on January 1st. Your opening stock is 6,000 units and your closing stock is 5,200. See, we don't have sales here, right? So, the formula that you will use is this one. The formula that you use is this. The difference in profits is equal to fixed overhead rate multiplied by the difference between opening stock and closing stock. Okay. Now let's apply the formula. We just learned that the difference in profit is equal to fixed overhead rate per unit. What is the fixed cost on per unit basis? Rate per unit multiplied by the difference between the closing stock and opening stock, right? Let's see. Fixed overhead per unit. This is the fixed cost that goes to each unit. Look at this. A corporation had the following unit cost for the recently concluded calendar year. So it means each unit we produce takes in $3 fixed cost. So this is what you call the fixed overhead rate per unit multiplied by the difference between closing stock and opening stock. Your closing stock is 5,200. Opening stock is 6,000, which means the difference is 800. So we got a number $2,400. Now we are seriously confused because there are two 2,400s. Either it could be this or this. Now we have to use our mukh. Here's the question requires some use of brain. We got the number fixed overhead rate multiplied by the difference between production cost and opening stock and closing stock. Now you just need to think about it. Think a little. If my opening stock is 6,000, right? I produce, let's say 10,000 units, right? 6 plus 10, 16,000. But my sale definitely should be more than 10,000. My sale would definitely be 10,800. Now if you just calculate 6,000 plus 10, 16,000 less 10,800 gives you 5,200, which clearly means that your sale is more than production. You sold more than what you produce. And that is the reason that your opening stock has shrunk. Your opening stock was 6,000 and it has fallen down to 5,200. Let me take you back to reinforce your understanding. This is it right here. Let me, if I could find it right here. This is it. Whenever your production is less and sale is more, like in our example, our production was 10,000, but our sale was 10,800. You sold more than produced. What will it do? The ending inventory context, your ending inventory will be lower. Like, yeah, your opening stock was 6,000, but since you produced less, you sold more, your closing stock is just 5,200. So if this is the case, when your production is less, sale is more, your operating income is higher under variable costing. So your operating income under variable costing would be higher. This is what you need to learn well. So under this system, your variable costing profit would be higher. Now, when compared to variable costing, absorption costing income. So since the question is in opposite direction, if you take it back, operating income is higher under variable costing, or you can write it this way: operating profit under absorption costing would be lower. If the variable costing profit is higher, then absorption costing profit would be lower. By what amount? By this difference in profit, 2400, which means your absorption costing profit would be lower. This is your answer, right? So whenever sale is more than production, your absorption costing profit would be lower. So we can now click this without doubt. That's your right answer. Now, to enhance this concept further, we have another good question here. Beautiful question, I must say. It says, during the month of May, a corporation sold 1000 units and the cost per unit is as follows. Now we have been given the sales units, but we have not been given the production units. We are required to find what was the production during the period. We have been given the direct material, direct labor, variable overheads, fixed overhead per unit, variable selling, fixed administrative. Variable administration, fixed administration. Now, we have been, this is a beautiful question. Income using absorption costing is 9500, whereas income using variable costing is 9125. Put them aside. We have absorption costing income as 9500 and the variable costing profit is 9125. Our absorption costing profit is more than variable costing. That is 100% that production is more than sales, without doubt. Production is more than sales. If our sale is 1000 units, then production will have to be more than 1000, which means either A or D. So if you don't know the full computation, at least in your exam, you can go for a guess, either A or D, because your absorption costing profit is higher, variable costing profit is lower, so production is more than sales. So production units will have to be more than 1000. So either this or this. Let us calculate it in our formula that I've just showed you a little while ago. I just told you the difference in profits is equal to FOH rate, fixed overhead rate per unit, multiplied by the difference in production and sales. We have production and sales here. The difference in production and sales. What is the difference in profit? Calculate 9500 less 9125. 9500 less 9125, that gives me 375. What is the fixed overhead rate per unit? It is given right here. Fixed overhead per unit is 1.5. Now this will give me the difference in production and sales. If I make this subject of the equation, is going to be 375 upon 1.5. That gives you 250. Halas. Now this tells me the difference between production and sale is 250 units. If your sale is 1000, then production has to be 1250, and that is the perfect answer. Look no further. That is your answer. Halas. So gentlemen, that ends your variable and absorption costing with the good quality questions that were related to the theory we just discussed. Now we will be moving forward.